Out of all three devil fruit types in One Piece, people usually consider Logia to be the best. The Logia fruit gives the user the ability to become and manipulate a certain element. However, not all Logias are created equal. That's why in today's video, I'm going to be ranking all 13 Logia type devil fruits from One Piece, from worst to best, on a tier list. Before we begin, here is our tier list and here's our categories. We have trash for the garbage Logias, mid for nothing special but nothing too bad. We have decent for pretty good but nothing crazy. We have greatness for actually really good devil fruits, but ending it off, we have the One Piece, for the devil fruits so powerful and so broken they're on a whole nother level. I'm going to be rating the Logias in the order they were introduced, so first off we have Smoker and his Plume Plume fruit. The Plume Plume fruit is the definition of a mid fruit. It gives the user the ability to control smoke, which isn't really that bad, but it doesn't really come with any good offensive or defensive capabilities. Offensively, all you do is just shoot out big clouds of smoke that can attack your enemy, and defensively, it just has basic Logia defense. So with all that being said, I'm going to throw this one in mid tier. Next up, we got Ace and Sabo with the Flame Flame fruit. I'm going to keep this one pretty short, because all this allows you to do is become a firebender from Avatar. While the fire is pretty powerful and you can shoot massive amounts of it out at your enemy, it's not the strongest element out there in One Piece. Also look at someone like Akainu, who has a fruit that's literally this, but 100 times better. There's a lot of room for improvement, and I definitely see a lot of potential in this, but for now, I'm going to have to throw this in decent tier. Next up, we got Crocodile and the Sand Sand fruit. The Sand Sand fruit gives the user the ability to control and manipulate all sand around them, turning it into a giant weapon. It also allows the user to absorb the moisture out of anybody's body. This is pretty good, as Crocodile used it 3 separate times to almost end Luffy in Alabasta, but unfortunately, it has one glaring flaw. That being its weakness to water. You see, the main reason you would eat a Logia is that basic attacks won't work on you anymore. You at least need arm and hockey if you want to fight a Logia. But if you just get water on Crocodile, you can hit him with anything. This is a huge flaw that really brings the fruit down, so while it's still not terrible, it's certainly not great. So I'm going to have to throw this in mid-tier. Alright, now we have Enel's Rumble Rumble fruit. This fruit allows you to control and produce thunder, which is really powerful and really strong. However, it does suffer from one weakness, that being rubber. While it's not as bad as having weakness to water like Crocodile, it's still a huge weakness, which is the reason Enel lost to Luffy in Skypiea. However, I feel Enel makes up for this by having 3 really cool abilities with this fruit. That being 1, the ability to transform into this Thunder Titan, 2, the ability to transport himself throughout thunderclouds, giving him some insane mobility, and 3, he can use these thunderclouds to make his observation haki even better. So with all that being said, I don't think it's going to be number 1 on our list, but it's still a really great fruit. So I'm going to throw this one in the One Piece tier. Next up, I got Aokiji and the Ice Ice fruit. This fruit is insanely broken in the world of One Piece, where everyone's reliant on the ocean to sail around and travel. The ability to manipulate it and create glaciers out of nowhere is insanely powerful. This fruit has some insane destructive capabilities, like we saw with Marineford or Punk Hazard, or with his fight against Garp. And on top of that, Aokiji can freeze anybody into an ice sculpture, and then proceed to shatter that ice sculpture and one-shot them. And if you think Aokiji has any elemental weaknesses to fire or lava, you would be wrong if you look at his fight against Akainu. This fruit has tons of great features and absolutely no weaknesses, so I gotta throw this one in the One Piece tier. Now, I got Blackbeard and the Dark Dark fruit. The Dark Dark fruit is good, but it's very situational. You see, the main thing about the Dark Dark fruit is that it can take away a Delphoot user's Delphoot power. That's insanely useful, but what if you're fighting someone that doesn't use a Devil Fruit? Well, then it does become kind of useless. It still has some other cool abilities, like the ability to absorb objects around you and then shoot them back out at your opponent, but it's not the most helpful. So if you're fighting a Devil Fruit user, it's really good, and if you're fighting someone that does not use a Devil Fruit, it's okay. So I'm going to have to throw this in the greatness tier. Next up, we got Kizaru and the Glint Glint fruit. Now, Mr. Agenda's fruit is insanely broken. It gives you the ability to literally transform into light, fly around at insane speeds, and give you some insane mobility. On top of that, you can shoot beams of light at your opponent, which can do some serious damage, and you can also manifest weapons out of light. That is insanely powerful and insanely broken. I wouldn't say it's on the level of Aokiji, but it's definitely up there. So I'm going to have to throw this one in the One Piece tier. And I'm also going to put it right above Enel, because it can do virtually the same thing his fruit can do, except it does not have a weakness to rubber. Now we got Akainu and the Magma fruit. Now, Mr. Donut Maker has not used this fruit a lot in the series, as he's too busy sitting at his desk most of the time, but when he does use it, we see how insanely powerful it is. In his fight against Aokiji, it had the ability to literally reshape an island. I wouldn't say it's as good as Aokiji's fruit, because Aokiji can do more with his fruit, like I said with the oceans, but this is still insanely powerful. The Magma was so hot that it was able to literally melt Ace's fire, and that's how he was able to beat him in Marineford. So, with all that being said, the best offensive capabilities in all of One Piece, not as good as Aokiji, but it's definitely up there, the One Piece tier. These past few Dull Fruits I've just covered have been insanely good, and I cannot wait to see where it goes from here. Next up, we got Caribou and the Swamp Fruit. The Swamp Fruit is easily the worst Logia in all of One Piece. This fruit has no means of attacking other than trapping your opponents, but it does not do anything offensively. The only kind of cool thing this Dull Fruit does is the ability to store things within your body. But I'm looking for strong Dull Fruits, not becoming a shipping container. So I'm going to throw this in trash tier. Now we got Caesar and the Gas Fruit. Easily the most underrated Logia in all of One Piece, because it functions just like Smoker's Fruit, but instead of controlling smoke, you control a poisonous gas that can really hurt your enemy. In the world of One Piece, we've seen that poison is really effective at getting the job done, and even characters like Luffy have had near-death experiences just because of poison. I feel like Caesar only showed us the tip of the iceberg on what this Dull Fruit can do, and while outside of the poisonous gas, there's not a lot of attacking you can do with this fruit, it's still insanely strong and can be really useful in a fight. So I'm going to throw this one in decent tier. Next up, we got Monet and the Snow Fruit. I'm going to keep this one pretty short because her fruit functions just like Crocodile's fruit, but instead of controlling sand, she controls snow, and instead of being weak to water, she's weak to fire. Her fruit literally shares the same abilities as Crocodile's, but the weakness is a little less common, so I'm going to put it slightly above Crocodile's. So still not the best, but it's not the worst. So I'm going to throw it in mid-tier. Next up, we got Karasu and the Suit Fruit. This one is really interesting because all the other Logias allow you to control an element, well, this one allows you to control birds. It's hard to explain, but essentially, Karasu is made up of a bunch of birds that he can control and command. It's pretty weird, but it actually proves to be pretty useful. He can use the birds to fly around, giving him so great mobility, and we've shown they can be pretty good for offense. I hope we see more of this fruit because it is really interesting, but for now, I'm going to throw it in decent tier. Now, our final Dull Fruit is Admiral Greenbull and the Woods Fruit. Now, just because Greenbull got one-shot by Shanks' Wi-Fi hockey does not mean this Dull Fruit is trash. It's actually really good. It gives you the ability to transform your body into a bunch of trees, essentially creating your own forest. We've shown this fruit can be very versatile for head-on attacks, sneak attacks, and defense. Greenbull was able to fight off a king and queen. Yes, they were injured, but that's still insanely impressive. A lot of downplay on this fruit that it does not deserve. This is really good, and I'm going to throw this one in greatness tier. Alright, now here is our final tier list. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Did you like this video? Should I keep doing tier list videos, or should I go back to ranking stuff from worst to best? Let me know your opinions on the list. What did I rank too high or too low? Please consider liking and subscribing, and I'll see you guys next time.